Hello everyone, I'm Vivi and welcome back to some Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time. So lots of media outlets and influencers got the chance to try out a Crash Bandicoot 4 demo, and so I thought, why not go over it and see what we can notice? No, I personally didn't get the chance to play it, but it's okay. At least we got new gameplay footage and I'm super happy. By the way, I am going to go over the footage of Crystal Fissure. Thank you so much, by the way. From what I heard, they were only allowed to share 3 minutes of each level. We're technically looking at 2 levels, so all the gameplay footage you might stumble upon, they're going to differ. It's normal, when it comes to like sections, bonus rounds, and everything. So yeah, with that said, we're going to take a look at the first level, called Dino Dash. The very first thing I have to bring up when it comes to the gameplay, which caught people by surprise, or even has been bothering them, apparently. The floaty controls compared to Insane Trilogy. Yes, we like to call it floaty. Insane Trilogy, yes, it had more weight to the character. But looking at Crash 4, the characters have less weight to them. Do I hate it? Nope, I don't. The way I look at it, the Insane Trilogy were remakes of decade-old games. This is a new Crash Bandicoot game in 2020. So I am personally looking forward to what these new mechanics have to offer. Yes, I'll have to get used to these floatier characters. Tell yourselves, by the way, that these levels look much wider than before, much bigger gaps and all that. I am not bothered by the floatiness brought upon the mechanics in this game. Heck, don't forget, this is an early build. This isn't part of the final product. Not saying that this is an early build means that they're gonna alter the controls. No. I'm just putting it out there. This is early footage. But as for other things, yes, I'd like to bring it up. I've noticed red circles and yellow circles under us. Well, technically red under the enemies and yellow under us. I really hope there's an option to turn that off, because it looks a bit distracting, I find. It could be some sort of jump assist? We could toggle on and off? Well, at least I hope so. If we look at the B-roll footage, we don't have the circles under us, so yeah, to me, it looks like a jump assist type of thing. The bounce crate in Crash 4 acts exactly like the one from Warped. You jump 5 times, 2 Wumpas per each jump. I prefer this method because it's much quicker. Spinning on an enemy, it causes them to become a projectile, and they hit that crate over there. The Golden Wumpa crate grants you 25 Wumpa. That's a lot of Wumpa, so make sure not to miss out on those. Yes, apparently the demo has 2 versions, modern and retro. The majority of the gameplay I've stumbled upon, it's all modern. As for retro versus modern, I'll get to it later on in the video. Next, we see Lani Loli's powers. He can phase objects. Okay, so that must have been it looking at this leaked screenshot from before, those blue looking crates in the background. You need Lani Loli to phase through those objects. You either press triangle or R2 to phase between crates accordingly. Be careful not to hit the nitro crate. Now any object you can phase emits a blue glow. The same goes for the vine sliding section afterwards. You slide by hanging, by pressing either circle, or you can slide on the top by pressing X, to either basically phase incoming hazards or crates. The mask appears to be exclusive to certain areas. There's no timer. It doesn't matter how long you use its power, it doesn't matter. Now once you're out of a certain required area, the mask, it disappears. I'm loving the new style given to the TNT, by the way. You can actually see what's inside it. Sliding is back, but from what I've heard, the majority of people have been saying that it breaks a lot of momentum. When you slide and jump, you don't get any distance afterwards. You just get height. So yeah, I'm a bit bummed out by that. The Dino Chase sequence. Hitting a glowing mushroom gets Crash in a weird state where you slow down. I like that. Sometimes I'm like, maybe the dinosaur is too slow, giving us too much of a chance to break all the crates. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe it depends of how you play it. Some players out there are probably super fast at, avoiding the hazards, making it seem like the dinosaur is too slow. I haven't played it personally, but, I won't be too quick to judge. Looking at the dinosaur's animation, he jumps on the sides now. He doesn't care, it doesn't matter. He's just after you. He wants to chase after you. This is no longer just a complete linear chase sequence. I mean, it doesn't really change anything the way he moves, but what's new is the animation basically. It looks lovely. Toys for Bob went all out on this, and it shows. After you exit a level, you know, passing through the crate counter, we get this level complete sequence. And a new meme was born. I've seen tons of things over on Twitter, and I'm serious. Another thing I've noticed, if you still have Aku Aku on you and enter this sequence, you know, exiting the level, Aku's gonna blow up into pieces. You can see his mouth move across the screen, poor fella. Entering the icy level, called Snow Way Out. Yeah, I know. Nice pun, right? This part of the level is apparently called the 11th Dimension. We now have a death counter. You die too many times in modern mode. Yes, this is part of modern mode. You won't obtain a clear gem when you complete the level. I haven't seen that sort of thing yet, but according to the interviews we had with Toys for Bob, yes, you do obtain a clear gem after not dying too many times in modern. Yes, we finally get to see the red exclamation crate in action. This is a mechanic that surrounds Kupunawa. To get those ghost crates to appear, you hit the crate and make sure to activate slow-mo. There's a tiny loop on the crates that shows how long they can stand, so be quick. But, you know, if you get unlucky, you can simply backtrack and hit the exclamation crate again. The ice physics look a bit brutal. I cannot wait for that. This level relies a lot on Kupunawa's power. Avoiding hazards, jumping, freezing time for crates and all that, you understand. The waterfalls, there's always something behind them. Always pay attention to waterfalls. Just the amount of detail, you can see the drapes right behind the windows. Very cool. Cortex was confirmed to be playable, and we look at his gameplay for the very first time. We start with, again, an idle animation just like Crash, and the same level. Bad guys can freeze in cold weather, too, you know. Cortex relies on dashing a lot. The power of Cortex's bald head. It glows purple, you dash forward. As you dash forward, the game gives you a brief chance to decide where to land. Because if we didn't have that slight sequence of hovering, I feel like it would have been too challenging and perhaps unfair. So I love the fact that they added that slight hover in the end, to decide if you want to go left or right, you know, to properly land. Cortex also talks and sings. Why ask for more?
Bandicoots are en route. I must reach the spot. On a cold winter's night, have yourself a bite of Bandicoot stew.
I love this new liveliness brought to the game. Actual dialogue during gameplay, unless it's overdone. I like the new feature. Cortex can morph enemies into either static or bouncy crates. You gotta plan accordingly. As you can notice, there are crates on top, on the bottom. How are you gonna make it over there? You really gotta think. You really gotta make your jumps precise. Yes, this game does bring a layer of challenge. This game, by the looks of it, and from what I've heard, it's not gonna be easy. So let's go. Okay, as for this part, there was a screenshot and I remember saying, oh, we probably move from left to right. Vivi, you can't always assume stuff, okay? Okay, I understand. You actually move from right to left. And yeah, you dash to move forward. I was wondering about that. As for this sequence we saw in the trailer, he actually sneezes. No, he doesn't just press the button like that, he sneezes. Now what we can also notice is Cortex sees Crash making his way over to that bridge. Cortex blows up that bridge. So here, it looks like we got two perspectives. One where Cortex envisions Crash going through harder sections, more difficult hazards. That would explain why in this section, for example, the gameplay we had with Crash before, we simply had normal crates and a hidden gem. But in Cortex's mind, he imagines more hazardous areas. For example, we have TNTs instead of normal crates. So maybe that could explain why Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time would have over 100 levels. We're basically going to have two versions of some levels. One from Crash's perspective and the other from Cortex's. Since he despises Crash so much, in his head, he imagines more dangerous areas. But from the looks of things, at least from this footage, The alternate version of this level will only be playable starting from this bridge. People also call this alternate level Cortex's timeline. Now, will all levels have 2 different variations? We don't know, but this at least hints at how the levels add up easily. Now, just like the originals, you have hidden pathways and bonus rounds, and the gameplay we have here just shows how much there's a bit of more wide open world type of thing. Yes, it still follows the classic formula, but for example, sneaking in this corner right here, the way the camera moves around you just shows how much wider the place looks. Now keep an eye out for hidden gems throughout the levels. Crash 2 and 3 not only had hidden pathways towards colored gems, for example, but we also had tasks. So I wonder if tasks in Crash 4 will involve something like not breaking a single crate, which would award you with a gem. Also, looking at Crystal Fissure's gameplay footage, he collected all crates and yet there's no gem. Seeing as how this is early footage, maybe we might get a gem for breaking all crates, just like the originals. Looking at Aku Aku, this is very noticeable. He no longer stands close to you, he rather spins around you just like Crash Team Racing. Also, let's not forget about the background music, especially the one with Cortex's section. You can hear a lot of Cortex's theme in the background. Let me play this sequence. Oh, and before I forget, yes, the demo came with retro and modern mode. Retro mode is basically you playing the game with the game over system from the classic. If you die, it's game over, you restart at the beginning of the level. Now of course there's going to be checkpoints and all that. Both modern and retro mode appear to have a death counter. The death counter does not only belong to modern. So basically, if you're playing this on retro, you're just going to make the game a bit more difficult. Now, why did they remove the lives system from modern? Well, basically, they want Crash Bandicoot 4 to be more suitable to the general audience. And of course, for longtime fans, if you're looking for more difficulty, you could just play on retro. I mean, think about it. In modern, you have unlimited lives. And if you die too many times in retro, you know, losing all your lives, you're just gonna restart from the beginning. If you die too many times, you won't be awarded with a clearer gem. This was confirmed from one of Toys for Bob's interviews. Looking at other gameplay footage out there, Game Informer for example, load times seem to be very, very long. They're about 25 seconds. If they want to improve something, like this is early footage like I said, I really hope they try and shorten these load times, because it really reminds me of Wrath of Cortex. Looking at PlayStation Access's gameplay demo, yes, they're playing in retro. Another thing we have to pay close attention to in retro mode, the Golden Wumpa crates have been replaced with lives. But that doesn't mean you don't obtain a Golden Wumpa. You do. You actually get both. On the top right corner, you can notice the lives counter, as well as the tally system from modern. So I believe this answers one question. IGN's interview stated that yeah, retro and modern will have currency. The Wumpas will play as currency. So I wasn't too sure if retro, for example, would still have a tally system. Just the way it was worded over on IGN's website, I wasn't sure. So yeah, there's the life counter like I just said, and we notice a new gauge. I'd like to believe that's the new 100 Wumpa requirement to get a new life. Yes, they did confirm that by collecting 100 Wumpa, you get a 1-up. Basically the classic game over system. However, this brings up another question. Yes, you're collecting 100 Wumpa, but once you're done with the level, you know, having collected all available Wumpa, are we to believe that we can no longer collect any Wumpa to, you know, farm lives? So how does it work exactly? Will the Wumpas respawn simply for retro mode? Leave your thoughts in the comments, cause I'm confused. So yeah, so far we have hidden gems, clear gems for not dying too many times. As for having a gem for getting all crates, like I said before, we still don't know. Perhaps we'll know with time. So with that said guys, this is it for the video. If I missed anything interesting or cool, say so in the comments section below, alright? And as always, I've been Vivi and thank you so much for watching.